Hey Matt, this is Sebastian. Thanks for taking time to listen to this short presentation. I want to use this time to briefly present the services provided by Optimizely and try and highlight their benefits. Essentially, Optimizely is a platform that enables companies to perform A/B tests and multivariate tests on their own. In case you're not familiar with the concept of A/B testing, I want to quickly take the time to explain this. A/B tests or multivariate tests are tools used to identify changes to a website that will maximize an outcome of interest. This outcome could be the number of clicks to a certain site, or it could be the number of signups to a certain newsletter or service, or it could be the number of purchases made on a website that sells any goods or services. The way the method works is to make different changes, what we call variables, to the given website, which we refer to as a control variable, and then determine whether these changes have had any impact on the outcome of interest. Before I indulge more on the benefits of the methods of Optimizely, I briefly want to explain how and why the company was founded. The company was founded by two former product managers at Google. That was Dan Siroker and Pete Kuhlman. Dan Siroker actually quit his job at Google and joined the Obama campaign as head of analytics. And this is where he really became aware of the possibilities that A/B testing offered. During the Obama campaign, he was using A/B testing and examined the effect that changes to the picture and the call for action button could have on the sign-up rate for volunteers, the subscription rate, and the amount of money donated for the Obama campaign. In all cases, Dan witnessed that the changes he made led to about a 40% increase, which led to additional almost $60 million being raised for the campaign. Here we see how minor changes to the website can have huge impacts on the outcome. There were, however, at the time several pitfalls to A/B testing, and the major one was that the tests back then were not fast enough to process all the ideas that they had. In addition to that, major pitfall was that all the tests relied on web developers to reprogram the websites, and these web developers cost companies a lot of money. And also that these A/B tests couldn't be performed by people for whom this information would be very relevant. These are people from marketing and from sales. Another problem was that no real-time information was provided on these tests. As a result, Dan and Pete decided to found Optimizely. And with Optimizely, you can perform as many A/B tests as you want within under 2 minutes. And more importantly, the information derived from these experiments is presented in real time. So if you have a website which has a lot of traffic, you can derive relevant data within a couple of hours. Additionally, one of the major benefits of Optimizely is that you do not have to rely on any web developers. Anyone within the whole organization will be able to perform these tests. Now I quickly want to turn to the Optimizely editor. At Optimizely and the Optimizely platform as such. At Optimizely we use the so-called what you see is what you get editor. The benefits of this editor is that it's simple and intuitive to use, and as mentioned a couple of times already, it does not rely on the work of a web developer, and basically anyone within the organization can use it. So I want to quickly now talk about how the platform as such works. How it works is you start by copying the respective website URL into the input bar on the Optimizely platform. What they will then see is an exact replica of your web page. You now have the possibility to make all kinds of changes to your page wherever you might think is relevant to increase your outcome of interest. As said, this outcome of interest could be a number of clicks, could be a number of purchases, and many more. Upon viewing the website, you can singly select every element of the page and choose what changes you want to make to each of these elements. Changes that you can make include editing the text, changing colors, changing the positions of the element, and you can even upload pictures directly from your CPU onto the web page. Having decided the changes that you want to test, you now have to decide upon the goals, what you want to achieve, and what measures are supposed to assess the impact of the changes you apply to the website. Consider that you altered one of your call for actions to purchase a good. Then an obvious measurement for that change would be the number of clicks made onto that element. This measurement is what we refer to as a click goal. You also have the possibility to test the impact of the change in the element on the number of completed purchases. One thing that in general we recommend is if you are doing tests on purchasing sites that if you change one product site, you change them across the whole bank of products. And this is something that Optimizely, the platform, allows you to do under the options section. When deciding upon the variation that could potentially have an impact on your outcome of interest, there are two options for eventually testing these changes. The first possibility, you can choose to let every single change on the original website be presented on a new page. This is what we refer to as multivariate testing, where you have all the variables tested on one page. The other possibility entails you to make every single change per variable be a separate new web page. An advantage of this is that you can let different percentage of people view every different change that you make. This is something that Optimizely lets you to do. It lets you control the traffic to each of the variables, but I'll talk more about that in a second. Once you've completed this stage, you might also want to segment your audience into different target groups. And this is something that Optimizely platform allows you to do. You can target your audience based on different categories. On the one hand, you can segment your audience by which browser they're using, or whether they've been on the website a couple of times before. And this might be really interesting to you. So maybe if there's individuals that visit the website more frequently, you can give them special offers and see how that changes revenues of your website. Or generally, all other kind of behavioral attributes that you might think would be relevant for your segmentation can be segment your audience on that basis. And this could be basically what language are they using, what past internet history do they have, did they get onto the page via an advertisement, and many other things. A key asset of Optimizely is also that it allows you to geo-target your audience. And what this lets you do is it lets you target your audience based on their location. That way you have the option, for example, to let individuals from certain cities take part in the experiment, or let them be guided onto certain parts of the website or different variations of the website than from other cities. Finally, you have the opportunity to review your results. And what we see here is basically an outline of the results section. Here you'll receive an overview of the goals that were set out earlier, and you can now examine how the different websites performed with regard to their task. And basically you will always see how much the change in the website has improved basically the goal that you set out. Finally, I just want to mention very quickly a bit about the implementation of Optimizely and point out how easy it actually is. There's only one single line of code that you can place into your web page's code, and once this has been done, you can entirely forget about the coding. Every change that you make on the Optimizely platform will directly go into the base code of your web page. And once you've started, you can do as many tests as you want, and yeah, you don't have to worry about recoding your web page anytime. So yeah, I hope I covered the most important aspects. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to listen to me. If you have any questions or remarks, please contact me. If not, then I wish you a great trip to the States. Thanks again, and all the best.